What is up, gang? Welcome to our live. Today will we be oh boy, we're starting off strong. We will be discussing progressive overload in the context of building muscle. So usually I will allow a few minutes for people to get on and get in, but I'm just going to jump straight into the point so we can get to work. So today we'll talk about progressive overload. For the benefit of those on Instagram Live, I'm currently coaching a live training for my online one-to-one coaching clients. So you'll see me talking to the camera and you'll also see me talking to a different camera. And my ladies who are in our group coaching call, please make sure that you are muted. And if we have questions, for people on IG, leave the questions in the comment section here and we will get to them at the very end. For my ladies who have questions, this should be about 15 minutes and then we will resume the rest of our regular scheduled coaching calls then. I'm hitting the record button now, so let's jump into progressive overload. I am going to go ahead and share my screen for the benefit of my ladies who are in the Zoom call. So for everyone who's here, progressive overload, let's just be real. If you're not using progressive overload, you are likely missing out on some serious gains, babe. When we're talking about progressive overload, really what we're talking about is how can we strategically make your program, your exercise program, get harder every week so that we can see the changes we need to. When we're exercising, all we're doing in the body is telling it to adapt. We're saying when we squat every single week, hey body, you need to learn to adapt to do this because this is going to happen more often, and that's why the body adapts to being able to squat. However, the body is a very smart and very efficient machine. So if you tell the body we're going to squat 3 sets of 10 reps every week, that's all you're going to be able to do, and you may be able to increase weight over time, of course. Yes. But unless you're increasing weight or you're increasing other things that we'll talk about, you won't be able to see that adaptation from your body because you're not telling it to do anything. I want you to think of this kind of like a dartboard. If you were practicing how to throw darts and you kept hitting that middle of the bullseye every single time, that would tell your body, oh, okay, we need to hit the bullseye because that's what we do every time. But if you're doing target practice and you're not consistent and you've got a few shots all around the board, then your body isn't able to adapt to what you're trying to make it adapt to, which means you're missing out on all the gains that you should not be missing out on. Especially, girl, I know you're busting your butt in the gym. So let's talk about how you can actually use progressive overload now that we know what it is. There are 3 main ways to do this. The first is increasing volume, which would be to add some more sets or more reps. The second is to increase intensity. So this could be something like adding more weight, adding a pause, adding more time under tension. Time under tension meaning the time it takes for you to do the rep. So you can move slower or a slower tempo through that movement. That is also progressively overloading. You can also increase the frequency. So this would be something like adding more training sessions overall, and really this option is more so only for the people who are already training more than 3 times per week, because at a certain point you're going to get capped out. You need to be pushing yourself in order to see progress. So let's talk about how exactly you could do each one of these options. Little sip break. Okay. For increasing your sets or reps, here's how I want you to think about doing this progressive overload. Let's say for my girls, I will typically program a rep range. You've heard me talk about this a million times on IG, and if you're my coaching client, you have heard this too many times, but we'll say it again. I want you to think about your reps as a graduation system more than you think about your reps as your target or your end goal. When you are setting a goal for your reps to hit, typically we're going to be somewhere between that 8 to 12 rep range if we're looking to grow muscle size. I won't get too into this, but this is known as what's called the hypertrophic zone, or if you've ever heard the word hypertrophy, it refers to the process of making your muscles larger through a specific system of exercise. So if we're doing hypertrophy, we're somewhere between 8 to 12 reps. This is where most of your workouts will be, and this is where we will talk. For this specific range, I will tell my girlies to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. What the F does that even mean? What it means is I want you to go in with a weight that you know you can start with the lowest number of reps, right? So let's say we're doing bicep curls. I want you to go in with a weight that you can do 8 reps with for 8 reps. If on that first set you hit 8 reps, awesome. Next set, try and go for 9 reps or 10 reps and keep building with that exact same weight before you even change the weight. That's going to make sure that you are progressively overloading the volume because we're adding some more sets and we're adding some more reps. So instead of just stopping at 10 reps every single time, by providing that rep range for yourself, you're able to set yourself up for a range so that you can hit the desired rep target, which is somewhere between that 8 to 12, without going overboard or without making sure you're not progressing as well as you should. So typically for my ladies, we're gonna stay 2 reps away from failure inside of this program. That means we call this like our RIR, reps in reserve. That means you have 2 reps left before you're KO'd, right? Before you cannot lift the weight anymore. So in the context of this, if I say we're gonna go 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, and I want you to stay within that reps in reserve, two reps away from failure, what you'll do then, and that's why the rep range is so helpful, is because we don't know if you pick up your weights, that 10 reps is gonna be 2 away from failure. That's the major target, because in order to grow muscle, we need to be close to failure. That's why 2 away from failure is so good for this. So then instead of hitting just 3 sets of 10, you can grab your weight and try to aim for somewhere between 8 to 12 reps while staying 2 reps away from failure so that we know we're hitting the right amount of intensity. If you have questions, please make sure you're putting them in the comment section. And my ladies here, please make sure that you raise your hand and we'll answer questions all at the end. But that's how you can do more sets. So think of your reps as your graduation system. The other thing, this is like the most obvious way that people will graduate, so to say, their progressive overload is by adding intensity. This is usually done by adding more weight. So let's say you did 3 sets, 10 reps of 10-pound bicep curls. Awesome. So that means next week you're going to want to go for, let's just say 12 pounds of 3 sets of 10 reps and see where that lands you. And that is the simplest way, I think, to increase your progressive overload. That makes sure that you're not lifting the same weight week after week and make sure that you're progressing safely. Cool. The other thing you could do is, let's say, especially with bicep curls, making a bit of a jump on a muscle so small maybe is not feasible. Like maybe let's say you can get 5 or 6 reps out of the 12s, but you can't get into the right rep range. So what I would do then is, instead of grabbing a heavier weight, you know you can do your 10 reps with your 10-pound dumbbells. So instead of adding more weight or instead of adding more reps because you're not able to, what you can do is actually slow down the rep. So instead of just coming through with your bicep curls as per usual, you can add tempo. So you can go slower on the way down, still come up nice and fast, but nice and slow on the way down. You could even add a pause in the middle to make it more hard. So once you get to about this position, then pausing and coming down. There's a million ways that you could do this. It really does just depend on the situation. So keep in mind that you do not have to always stick to one method of progressive overload. It doesn't always have to be adding more sets, more reps, more weight. It could be you're literally just slowing things down. The other thing to do is, if you're really stuck, you're in the plateau and you've already tried all of this and you're still not seeing the results, that's when I would then resort to adding another session in. It could be, if you've already looked at your nutrition and everything else is on point, it could be that maybe you just need more volume in your training sessions, and if you only have 30 minutes a day, it may not be feasible for you to be able to stack a bunch of workouts on top of each other in one day. So maybe instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then a Saturday or Sunday workout too. So make it make sense, make it work for you. And that's the main thing here is you need to be pushing yourself in order to see progress. If you want to get stronger, which as you do this, you will continue to get stronger, the beauty of exercise is you can always continue to make things harder simply by changing the reps, the weight, the scheme, how many reps you do, all of that good stuff. And so really, like, this is the major takeaway of progressive overload is you want to be able to put yourself in a position where your exercises feel really effing hard. If you're leaving the gym going, what a wonderful day, and you're chill, especially after a leg day, I promise you did not work hard enough. And for me, this was really hard to grasp until I actually faced failure in a rep and realized how much more we can go, especially because your brain is going to stop you before your body actually has to stop. So, okay, that is what I will leave you with for the moment, but let me just recap really quick. There's so many ways that we can progressively overload outside of what I've even just discussed, and it still is a way to be improving. I know, especially in the bodybuilding world, like, we're huge on how many reps, how many sets, like all of that. But keep in mind, like, even just showing up more often, being more consistent, that is progression. Simple things like improving your form, it could be slowing down your tempo, it could be even just learning more. That is still you learning and still you progressing. Progressive overload does specifically refer to using it for your muscles, for them to grow. However, just because you're not able to shove more weight on the bar every single week does not mean you're not progressing. So please keep that in mind. And really, that's pretty much all I have for you. But actually, before I go, what I want to say is keep in mind you're not always going to be able to increase weight the same way for different exercises. Today I talked about the bicep curl, but the way you'll overload your squats and your bicep curl is likely going to be very different because your biceps are a much smaller muscle than all of the big muscles you get to use when you're squatting. So it's likely that you'll be able to progressively overload with your squats using more weight, more than you would for a bicep curl. So let me explain. For your bicep curls, I talked about how you're likely not going to be able to increase by 50% weight every single time. So on your bicep curl, if you're doing 10 pounds, you may not be able to jump to 15, let alone 20. So instead of grabbing a heavier weight, it's probably better to slow down your tempo, to do a variety of different things other than just adding more weight. I would say you could even do more reps or more sets, more reps, whatever you can do instead of increasing weight. Versus on your squat, think about the difference of adding 10 pounds to your big squat, which is already 100 plus pounds, versus adding 10 pounds to your already 10 pound bicep curl, right? It feels so much heavier because it is relatively, it's so much more weight. So please keep in mind that as long as you are near failure and as long as you are progressing in some way week to week, you're going to be just fine. And that's why I always say I take Pilates class and I do yoga class and I love them, but keep in mind that classes are not always able to progressively overload you, which is why they tend to not give you the results that you want. Unless that class is like a CrossFit class or some sort of bodybuilding class that's really designed to progress you week by week and not just kind of try new things every week, you're not going to see the results you want. You can take this for an example. In yoga class, you'll go through your chaturanga every single session, which means you're going through your plank to your upward facing dog variation to your downward dog variation. In that, if you practice that every single time and you're able to sink into a deeper stretch, or if you're able to maybe progress from hands on the blocks to taking your hands off the blocks and onto the ground, that's a progression. That exact same thing, that is progressively overloading. So keep in mind, even though I'll trash talk going to classes for your actual routine, there are still ways to progress in classes too. All right. I'm pretty sure for the last time, I know I've said it 1,000 times now, but that is where I will leave you so far. Let's go to the captions, to the comments and questions and see. So, Olivia, good to see you, girl. I said Olivia, but your name is Octavia. I know that. I'm sorry. So is it supposed to be sore the next day, or if it's sore, it's not enough? This is actually a kind of off-topic question, but I will answer it because I do think this is one of those fact versus myth type things. So soreness does actually not correlate to whether or not you've had a good workout or not. Soak that in for a moment. All soreness is the lack of oxygen or the lactic acid that's built up in your body. And so if we're talking about like real soreness, not just in the moment, but the next day, we're talking about delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS. That is not actually attributed to the lactic acid that a lot of people will think is what's happening, is because there's lactic acid buildup. When you feel the burn when you're working out, that's what that is. It's a lack of oxygen. That's not why you're sore. You're sore because there was a novel movement, so you did something new, or you didn't stretch or cool down or warm up well enough, or you just worked a lot harder than you're used to working, and that's why you're sore. So do not pay attention to your soreness as a method of measuring whether or not your workout was good, because it has nothing to do with it. Octavia also asks, is an hour too long to be lifting? No, it's not too long, not at all. The reason I brought up the 30 seconds or 30 minutes is mostly just because most the women that I'm working with, 30 minutes workouts are usually what work. But an hour is an okay time to be lifting. Really, I wouldn't say like more than an hour and a half unless you're an advanced lifter or you have a coach or someone's helping you through it. Otherwise, that could definitely just be overkill. But workouts can take you anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours. So no, it's not too long. As long as you are structuring it well and you're not like sitting in there messing around. If you're doing your actual rest periods, which are usually about 2 minutes, and you're doing 3 to 4 sets per exercise, that's around 10, maybe 15 minutes per exercise. And if you're doing 4 to 5 in a workout, that's 40, 50 with your warm up and cool down, an hour. So yes. Okay. Country girl Lori Lee. What's up, Lori Lee? I haven't talked to you in so long. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. Lori, okay, I was pressing about 500 pounds last night. Casual. Nice. Okay. Had ACL reconstruction and meniscus surgery last year. So happy to be going up again. Still bothers me at times. Just annoying. LOL. Girl, Lori, congratulations on your squat. That's incredible. And when you say pressing, are you meaning, I'm assuming because you're talking about your ACL. You're pressing? What? What are you doing for 500 pounds? This is awesome. Lori, I think you were talking about how when we're progressively overloading, we got to be conscientious of bones and joints and ligaments and making sure we're good. So excellent job. I'm glad that you are still progressing, even recovering from an injury. And I just want to make it known that if you do have an injury, please know it's not like the end of all things. It just means it's your opportunity to find a new way of doing things. How exciting. Cool. I'm excited to see you, Lori. Good to see you, girl. Will's Wellness. What's up, man? Consistency is key. Progressively overloading isn't preached enough. Agreed. Consistency is super important. And not just consistency, but overloading through consistency. Because as we know, as we've talked about, if you're showing up doing 3 sets of 10 reps every single time with the exact same weight, that is called maintaining the current strength or current muscle mass you have. Until you are increasing the weight, the sets, the reps, the tempo, something, you're going to stay the same. So I love that, Will. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. LOL, Octavia, sorry for mispronouncing your name, but I'm glad. Hi, Lori. Leg press. I see. Leg pressing. So Lori's talking about leg pressing, literally 500 pounds going up gradually. Congratulations. That is insane. And Lori, I know you've been working at this for a long time, so congratulations, and I'm glad you're feeling better. And I hope everything is well with you and your family, too. I'll message you after this, and we can talk more privately, but cool. Gang, I am literally just going to wait like 1 minute because I told myself I would only talk for 15 minutes today, and here we are. Oh my gosh, Allison, no questions today, but your hair looks fabulous. Thank you for the video. Thank you. And thank you, Allison. I was feeling a little bit insecure because it's not doing what I want it to do. I'm still learning how to teach the hair to do what I want. But for those at home, my hair used to be down to here. And actually, while you're here, I'll tell you that the reason why I cut it is because I was in the shower washing my hair and it got stuck in my butt crack. And so I said, it's too long. It's time to get rid of it. So here we go. We're way shorter. So anyway, we're very off topic now, but glad that everyone came. Ladies, in my one-to-one coaching, we will resume our coaching call as per usual. So stay right here. I will stop the recording momentarily. For everyone on Instagram, thank you so much for coming. I will be posting this onto my feed and leaving a story asking for what topic we should do next week. I will leave that here. If you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help. So thank you, gang, for coming. Happy Friday. Go Chiefs on Sunday and enjoy your wonderful weekend. Stay safe, my loves.